What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the SCSL Season 4. We're finishing up the round of 8 today with Rush versus Bishop. This is going to be a lot of fun, Xun. We've got our only random player in this tournament, the only random player we've seen in tournament for quite some time since Flash did his run in the ASL, going up against Rush, one of the best Terran players we have right now.
Oh, absolutely. This is going to be probably one of the better sets of the entire SCSL Season 4, I would say, thus far. A lot of these games have been pretty one-sided with the, more favored players just seemingly dominating. But I think Rush versus Bishop will be a lot more of a closer showing. Terran historically does have a better time against random because they have cookie-cutter build orders available to them, like the Barracks Bunker Expand. Don't necessarily think that will make this series easy for Rush, though. Bishop is a very capable Terran versus Terran player, and he can also throw in a command center first if he does get that mirror matchup to throw a wrench into the works of Rush. So I think no matter what happens here today, we're going to see a really fun series.
That is something we talked about in our last episode. We were talking about Bishop and how being a Terran main and switching it up into random may help him here against Rush. He knows the difficulties of playing against random, and he knows how to abuse a Terran player with all the different races, including Terran. Guys, we're going to start off on Death Valley. First pick for Bishop. How crazy is that, Xun?
Oh, that's really crazy. I mean, there's just the fact that we are guaranteed to see this map is crazy enough. The fact that it's the first map is insane in terms of the tempo shift we're going to be seeing after this first game is concluded between these two. I have no idea how to call it. It could literally just go any other way. There's no way for me to figure out who would come out on top here, but it does seem like, I don't know, I kind of want to favor Bishop in this series. Like, if I had to bet money, I'm betting it on Bishop, but I think Rush is a very capable player, probably one of the better Terrans that we have. He has a very good Terran versus Terran win record as well, actually better than Bishop's. So I don't know how to call this, honestly, but just being able to see this map guaranteed and as the starting pistol map, I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, Rush, definitely a top 3 Terran player in the world right now. Bishop, not quite on his level. If this was TVT, my money would be on Rush if it was just Bishop playing Terran. But Bishop is playing a different type of game. He is throwing a wrench into the entire works of this matchup. Throwing in Death Valley first, playing random. He is just mixing it up so much. I wonder if Rush is going to have a hard time hanging with him in this series.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I mean, Bishop himself, though, he's had a lot of work cut out for him going into this tournament. He essentially has to practice 9 matchups, and only the people playing against him have to worry about practicing 3. So it's honestly a very tall order to do what Bishop is doing. That's why we were so blown away by Flash when he pulled it out in the ASL and went on a phenomenally good run there. Didn't quite make it, obviously, all the way to getting a Grand Finals medal around his neck, but he came damn close and he took out a lot of very high-level players along the way. And I think someone like Bishop won't necessarily have the same success as Flash did with random, but he's coming close.
Well, he has to make it through Rush here if he wants to go any deeper in this tournament. Guys, it's a best of 7 starting out game number 1 on Death Valley. Let's get it going. And here we are. Rush in the top left. What's Bishop got? It looks like Protoss.
No, it's Terran.
Terran? Oh, yes. You're right. You're right. I looked at that icon next to the supply, and indeed, it is Terran. Now that you mention it, it looks pretty similar to that top one, or that Rush icon there.
Yeah, we've got a mirror matchup to start things off now. It's obviously not a semi-island map, so Rush can send out a scout fairly early on and try to identify the race that Bishop is. He won't want to do that too early because you don't necessarily want to sacrifice a huge amount of your economy to do something like that. It's just going to be hitting the timings and build order a little bit too much. So eventually Rush is going to figure this out. But is he going to do something cookie cutter like a bunker expand or just do a one base tech play? And inversely, will Bishop try and be a little bit sneaky and greedy here and try and go for a pretty fast command center? It's definitely possible, but it looks like he's going to play this like a more traditional TVT, just making this barracks on the edge of his base for closer floating distances for his own scouting purposes. Meanwhile, Rush just going to wall in.
So optimizing the gas timings here is the benefit of being the random player. He doesn't need to open bunker expand or anything like that. With what kind of what Rush has to do here, he has to get this scout off. He has to kind of waste some time on this initial SCV, and then he also has to optimize for all different races. So going for a bunker expands most likely build here, but Bishop is going to have quite an opportunity to put on a lot of pressure and try to get something done, especially on a map like this.
Right, and you can see that Rush was mining out these minerals, expecting to go for something like a bunker expand. He's going to try and drill this SCV over now to get that started, while the other one continues to mine out that wall. He's kind of comfortable with this. I mean, bunker expand against the gas opening, it's pretty good as long as you don't take any damage, and it's very easy to prevent any damage being sustained with the wall in here. I mean, Bishop would have to float down a factory from the high ground to this low ground expansion on the left to, you know, get any vultures out and put pressure onto Rush. So Rush is probably feeling pretty comfortable about this going forward.
Well, Bishop's got to have some sort of plan for this map. I mean, it's hard to come up with a plan for all three races, but the first game of any best of 7 is extremely important, and having the benefit of selecting that first map and choosing Death Valley, you have to imagine he's got a plan here. What is he going to be pulling out to beat? Like, he almost 100% knows that Rush is going to go for a bunker expand, so making a plan against that here on this first map, it's got to be something special.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what, but I wouldn't have been too surprised if he threw down a starport for a 1-1-1 build. It seems like he hasn't elected to do that this fight. He's putting on some pressure at the front, and actually Rush making 3 Marines here to be super safe. He is a little bit timid about the possibility of Bishop being hyper-aggressive right now, but it does seem like Bishop is just, you know, cutting his losses and throwing down the command center at this Troy Gate natural. And, you know, we'll have a pretty teched out play. He kept mining 3 on gas for the majority of that time. So, you know, he's got options. He just wants to kick this SCV scout out of his main base before he shows his hand. So taking the CC first is the wisest of decisions here to obfuscate his range of play.
Yeah, interesting choice. They're starting out with a tank. I thought he might try to hop a vulture over onto the left-hand side. There's double starport. Okay, here we go. Bishop going to be mixing it up now. The random player has revealed his strategy to us, but not yet to his opponent. 1 starport over on Rush's side of the map. And double factory. He might. This is actually very good for Bishop, because any wraiths that are made out of this starport are going to be completely useless to the overwhelming number of wraiths coming out of Bishop.
Right. This tank will put on a little bit of pressure, but it can't actually get inside the main base. So Bishop's just looking to kill this supply depot, and he's kind of hoping that you know, Rush needs to keep this at a depot alive for a few seconds, but it looks like Rush doesn't need to do that, so there'll be nothing sacrificed to keep this depot alive, and he won't like lose a marine to keep it alive for a few ticks to keep his production going or something. Yeah, this is an interesting game because there's not probably going to be any detection early on here from Rush. I doubt we'll be seeing an armory just yet. It looks like he'll be optimizing his ground defenses initially, and especially with that second gas, it's going to be a long time coming before he can afford to throw down something like an armory. And that will hurt him a little bit. He's even got a shot off of one of these Marines with the tank, so that softens it up for these Wraiths as well. Luckily, Rush does have 4 Marines rather than just the usual 2, so he'll have a a better fighting chance against the initial Wraith pressure. So Bishop will have to go up to like 5 Wraiths initially before showing his hand.
This looks bad for Rush, guys. Every Wraith that's made here by Rush is sacrificial. There's no way to fight a higher Wraith count. You'll just die immediately. If they've got 3 Wraiths and you've got 2, it's over. It's kind of like Mutilis or something, where once you've got 1 more, or Vultures, for instance, more relevant to this matchup, you can see that's going to go down immediately. He probably knows now. You should know that there's a 2-star port. Gotta stop that Wraith production. Okay, he makes another Wraith. He's going to continue to make Wraiths here. I'm a little bit surprised about that. There's going to be Cloak coming up soon. I don't see an eBay. I don't see an Academy. There is an Armory coming up soon, but he should actually be making an add-on here so that he can get a Valkyrie out, but he's not. And he's going to get another Wraith.
He made an Academy, he's got the scanners on the way. He tried to make the eBay like you can see now, but he's going to start targeting down those SCVs as it tries to finish off that eBay. It's very close to finishing, but not quite yet done. Will have a couple of scanners available to him. It does make sense to continue Wraith production just to have any kind of anti-air being assisted by those Gemini missiles. There'll be a little bit of time coming before these 2 Goliaths pop out of the factory, and he will kill approximately 6 or so SCVs in total, but actually the Goliaths pop out just in the nick of time before Cloak can finish up. They'll scan anyway. And now actually doing a great job of targeting down some of these Wraiths. Yeah, he does actually kill another Wraith on the exit there. Great hold from Rush for the time being.
Trading Wraiths for Wraiths. Rush losing a few more SCVs here and there. It's going to be a while before he can get another scan, and Bishop knows it. Luckily, he did kill a few of these Wraiths. Otherwise, the SCV damage would really start to crank up. He's going to get about 2 SCVs here, it looks like. And there is going to be a turret here eventually. So this Wraith harassment is pretty much over, but honestly, I feel pretty good about Bishop's position after all this. He's managed to fully get mining his natural and have a lot of map control here, get the full information about what Rush is up to, and he's double expanding. It's too bad he didn't catch the CC over here on the left-hand side, though. Rush is going to get away with that for free. And Bishop's going to go ahead and expand onto the smaller side of the map, which in the long term actually gives him less opportunities to expand and will favor Rush.
Right, yeah, positionally this does favor Rush, but I mean, it's not too bad. It's great that both players have been able to get away with this greedy third base like this. We're going to have a very interesting game on our hands as a result. I think it's going to be a little bit tricky for Bishop to establish map control, especially if Rush starts to build a turret over here. He's going to need to come in here and deny these turrets from being set up. But with Karen boosted, Goliaths escorting that SCV that's building the turret might not be so easily done there. And as a result, we'll get a pretty good contain going. And Bishop's kind of forced to maintain Wraith production. And this isn't super optimal for him. If he found out about this base in the bottom left, he'd have a much easier time of being annoying to Rush right now and harassing these SCV lines. As it stands, he's going to just poke into the main base, see what he can find there. Looks like he won't be able to do too much besides starting to pew-pew against these tanks. They will be able to retreat to the safety of the turret, but not before one falling to those burst lasers. So, I mean, all things considered, this is, yeah, an okay value for Bishop, but I still favor Rush's position.
I love the 2nd starport. Oh, and the 3rd starport as well. Wow. So really leaning into this air production. Gonna get out a bunch of Valkyries, and you can see Bishop is kind of giving up on that. He's only gonna go to about 8 Wraiths here, and then try to transition to a heavier ground army. As long as Rush keeps him contained right here on the map in the bottom, that bottom pathway leading out of Bishop's base, and then takes control of the air, he's gonna have a fantastic spot over on this left-hand side of the map. He should be able to deny drops by just controlling the airfield, and I don't know how Bishop can handle that, how he can deal with that. Bishop is gonna build up a big ground force and I guess try to punch through into the bottom side of the map, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I mean, Rush inversely, he's gonna, pull like 3 or so Valkyries and then make a ton of Wraiths to support that and try and seize air superiority away from Bishop here. He's gonna try and sneak in the main base. He knows about it, by the way. He scanned, he saw the Valkyries and the Wraiths inside that main base, so he knows that they're there, and maybe he's thinking better of it, because by this time there should be 3 Valkyries. Yeah, there is 3 Valkyries, so would it be the wiser decision? Oh, he flies over the Goliath, saying that's so much damage. He does 3 Wraiths for free. One also almost bit the dust there. That's a lot of damage sustained to the air fleet of Bishop, and you won't even necessarily need these 3 Valkyries. He's going to seize air superiority away from Bishop quite easily now.
Yeah, this is really going to show how powerful Rush is as a player. Did you see that turret right next to his starport? If that wasn't there, we could have seen Bishop fly right in on top of those starports and kill, maybe 1-2 Valkyries before a scan could come out. But he had that perfectly placed turret. It completely disabled Bishop from flying in there and getting anything done, and then he loses some stuff on the way out. I can't imagine him actually holding this, but he's going to try. Oh, the dropships going down here is so painful. He's going to lose both of those dropships, it looks like, and only a few Goliaths here to support.
Yeah, the other one barely surviving with like a trickle of HP left remaining. Doesn't really matter though. He's having a hard time getting his ground army over to this newly acquired base close to the main of Rush, and that's kind of Bishop's main game plan right now. Was to kind of attack and defend at the same time in the own natural expansion outside of these droid gates of Rush. And he's having a very hard time leveraging his force up there. So he's trying to cycle his units down to the center of the board, elevatoring to the middle, but Rush catches him with his pants down, eliminates the majority of the air forces, and now these tanks are more or less stranded. These Goliaths can't even get down here easily to support these tanks, which are essentially sitting ducks now.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the tipping point here for Bishop. He needed to get over and try to make some progress on this side of the map, but he's having such a difficult time keeping these dropships alive. The dropships go down again, and now this force is, yes, like you said, stranded over on this side. Rush should be able to bring over some more forces to deal with this here shortly, or at least contain the threat. And Bishop's not making any progress on this side of the map. It is a lockout game from Rush. Just keep Bishop on the right-hand side and then dominate the left-hand side with the larger amount of resources available.
Right, yeah, you said it yourself. There's just so much resources on this other side of the map at Rush's disposal. This is a winning game state going forward. Bishop is the one that has to make some plays here. He's attempting to secure this tiny little high ground advantage, but it's not amounting to much. There's nothing to protect these tanks on the ground. It's taking him too long to replenish his dropships to keep elevatoring these units, and due to losing the air superiority war with Rush, he can't easily escort those dropships around the map to make plays like that anymore. So he's kind of just stuck on his side of the map, trying to rebuild his fleet. He has got some SCVs now mining at this base up here outside of Rush's natural. But I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, Rush is already fully saturated, full bases, and he'll be churning out a lot of units. He's ahead in supply. He's got positional advantage. The longer this game goes on, the harder it's going to become for Bishop. He's still contained in his own natural there that we just got a shot of. He's trying to get ready to break out from that position. A little bit of a distraction tactic here in the main base of Rush. There's another attack by Rush in the natural of Bishop with his air fleet, trying to put a lot of pressure onto Bishop and keep his own units chasing around these raids and not fully committing to breaking out against this contain.
I'm curious, if Bishop had originally gone for the drop here in the main base, how much more damage could he have done? Because I think it's kind of like an attack and defend. Hold on a second here. He's trying to come down this ramp. This is catastrophic for Bishop. He is hardly making any progress here at all. If one mine connects, it's not too bad, but there it is. He taps out anyway. He knows what a terrible position he's in. And it's all because of Rush. The way that he handled this game, just getting over onto that left-hand side, and getting around down to that bottom, and trapping Bishop on his side of the map. Rush definitely knows how to play TVT on Death Valley.
Oh, absolutely. And you could even just see the amazing target firing of Rush at the end there. He was ignoring those vultures for the most part and just gunning down some of those mines as they were laid in the wake of his units, making that bust out attempt so cost inefficient. No matter what happened, there wouldn't have been enough units remaining to make the game state tenable at all. So yeah, Rush just understands TVT better, I would say. And maybe Bishop now starting to hope that he doesn't roll that mirror matchup again, and maybe can take out Rush with Zerg or Protoss instead.
Yeah, it's funny. When we were watching Flash playing random, everybody was, hoping that he wasn't going to get Terran because it was so scary. The moment that they saw, oh, he rolled Terran again, you could see the pro gamers on the other side shaking their head like, oh no. But here, I mean, I think Bishop, you're right. He's probably hoping for one of these other races. He's been practicing like crazy, this random play. He's not here to play Terran. He wants to play random.
Right. Yeah, and TVT was never his forte, so I imagine while he's a very capable Terran player, he probably, against the likes of Rush, wants to avoid it. Rush is very potent in TVT. Not only is it his best matchup, but he can handle that matchup a lot better than some of these other Terrans can. He is one of the better Terran players in the world, so you kind of tend to have good TVT if you're that high up on the rankings.
All right, guys, we're hopping into game number 2. What is Bishop going to get for this second match? It's Rush's map pick. Let's jump right in. Zerg. Here we go. Bishop spawning in the bottom left. Rush in the top left on Radeon. Of course, Rush picks Radeon. Very standard open map for this very strong, well-established Terran player.
Yeah, and very good for build orders like bunker expand, CC first, so he'll be feeling pretty comfortable with opening for a cookie cutter style here as well if he needs to. He could take some risks. Every race has a build order that's pretty good against 2 matchups and not so much good against the third one. So he could also still just make a massive gamble here and just hope that it's not the one race that would be a bit of an issue. Seems like we've got a 9 pool at a Bishop. Wants to be able to kind of get a quick checkmate on something like a 14cc, which is definitely possible from Rush.
Absolutely. Getting this CC first off would give Rush a big advantage if he can pull it off, but 9 pool... Oh, hold on. He throws down the barracks. I really thought he was gonna be saving the money there. That's kind of a late barracks, is it not?
Yeah, well, he made it at, like he started sending the SCV at like 170 minerals. Like he made that a little bit delayed. It was almost like he was considering the CC first, and then like kind of like had a frog in his throat and decided actually maybe that's too risky right now. Maybe his 6th sense was tingling, saying, and he could like feel a disturbance in the force, and somehow with his star sense could figure out that there was a 9 pool potentially coming his way.
Yeah, this is a funny thing, but Rush definitely having some star sense. I mean, unless he's a map hacker, like there's no other reason. There's no other way to explain that.
It was definitely a bit bizarre, the timing of it, but if he was map hacking, he would have identified the pool much quicker. So I don't think it was that, obviously. I think definitely just some star sense kicking in. When you played this game long enough, you eventually kind of like get a feel for when you should be greedy and when you shouldn't. It's almost like you become a fortune teller at the highest of levels, and he does see those lings come in now, and it was that cookie cutter bunker expand. So while he can block the ramp with 5 SCVs to save himself, he will be forced to cancel this CC on the low ground, which is some pretty good compensation for Bishop to pay for this 9 pool opening.
Ooh, really good control there from Rush, pulling back the SCVs. The moment that one starts to get targeted, maintaining the block on the ramp as well. Here's the 3rd Marine, makes its way to the front. Gonna be able to start that CC on high ground. Not really much of a slowdown, considering how much was put into this build to get this 9 pool out as quickly as he did. Bishop is not going to be able to delay this CC for very long, and eventually Rush is going to get into that very strong two-base play. Whereas Bishop, I'm not quite sure what his follow-up's going to be here. Could just be a very quick mutalist play, but there's not a whole huge range of builds that can be done from the 9 pool. You're kind of restricted because of the low count of drones and the slower hatchery.
Yeah, I mean, he found a little bit of compensation with that cancelled CC, but yeah, not a lot to be super greedy all of a sudden and go for like a 3 hatchery before lair or what have you. Will probably be railroaded into going for a more tight 2-hatch tech play. Has got that layer already on the way. He won't have the fastest of mutalisks either, but it'll be respectable enough of timing to put the pressure on Rush still. Rush has elected for a second barracks early, and there were a few additional Zerglings made by Bishop here, so I mean, I don't necessarily think he's going to attack with these. I think this is just to try and catch Rush if Rush is too greedy with a move out timing here. If he tries to do like a naked marine push, this would be easily punished by Bishop in this situation. He's going to poke in the natural here. See, there's no bunker. Look, there's the bunker. So he definitely won't pull the trigger on making too many more lings. He looks like he has made an extra couple of pairs. He was considering like a ling flood play to just, you know, wipe out Rush right here and now. With the bunker, you would need at least another 6 lings to make this a cost-efficient trade. Going in there with like 12 lings just isn't cost-efficient enough for him. He'll probably just, you know, swallow the fact that he's not going to be able to do a lot with these Zerglings and just go into mutalisks normally from here.
Yeah, this is about the worst possible scenario. What we're seeing here for Bishop. Got no damage or very little damage done anyway in the way of that cancel of the CC. And then builds a bunch of extra lings and can't get any kills on these marines. So he is just as lean as you could possibly be in terms of that economy. And he has a lot of lings here that just really can't do much. If he gets completely shut out by the turret placement of Rush and isn't able to get in here and deal some serious damage, then he is going to completely fall apart. However, if he does get in, kills off a few SCVs building turrets, you know, slows down that turret production, forces the Marines back in. Maybe he can dive the bunker with the Lings and then start to get something going, but it's going to be a tempo play from Bishop. He has to get something going with these mutas.
Oh, absolutely. He's only got 3 drones mining minerals in the natural, so if he maintains constant Mulus production, it will still be a long time coming until he's got enough minerals saved up that he can take an expansion and what have you. So he's essentially semi-all-in for the time being, and Rush will keep scanning that natural and identifying if there's any additional drones made or not. For the time being, Bishop wants constant Mulus production just to have a chance at putting on the pressure, but he does see pretty adequate turret timing from Rush. So I'm curious, will Bishop decide to transition fully and just start making non-stop drones? He should send out a drone to take a 3rd base. I think he's doing that now. Will he make lots more drones to replenish this low count, or will he maintain constant muta production? Remains to be seen. I don't think he's got any additional drones mining in the natural just yet, so he's kind of hedging his bets at the moment, keeping his options open with the 3rd hatchery on location in the bottom right natural, but hasn't yet made that many drones.
Sulky dives the bunker here. If we're watching a Sulky game, I think he goes with the Lings and kills the bunker. Start to open up some sort of position, but I think you're right, Bishop. Not happy to just all in. Okay, there we go. Drones popping out. I was wondering what that was going to be as I saw 2 drones in the natural mining. It's still very all in when you've got so little economy rolling, but it does seem like Bishop is looking towards a transition. Definitely the more safer play. Sometimes playing safe is actually playing risky because you're going to end up in a worse position if you keep playing safe.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to like take risks in StarCraft. If you play too safe, you'll eventually just fizzle out off the curve of the game in a lot of situations. It depends on the game state and position, of course. In this situation, it does seem like Bishop, you know, he's got quite a few drones made now, and there was a big turret commitment from Rush, 6 turrets in the natural. That's pretty sizable, to be fair. So, I mean, maybe Bishop can make this work. I mean, he killed a few SCVs, forced a lot of turrets. He's now finally replenished his drones. He's got a couple of drones transferred over to the 3rd now as well. So maybe this could be a pretty good game from Bishop still. The only thing I worry for is that Rush is a very competent Terran versus Zerg player, so if Bishop makes any kind of mistakes from this point onwards, he will just die to the timing attacks of Rush.
Well, the problem here is Bishop's not going to have lurkers in time. We didn't see that Hydra's Den. He went directly into Hive, and so he's hoping for possibly a Guardian play. I'm not sure exactly what he's going for. It's actually too late for Guardians. It would be already kind of morphing at this point, 9 minutes in. Yeah, I'm curious to see what the fall is here. I haven't seen an evolution chamber either, so the super quick Hive doesn't make sense if you're not going for either Guardians or for just straight up Ultralisk transition. Bishop, I mean, he's walking a weird road here, and it's got to be hard for a Terran player who switched over into random to kind of walk this fine line.
Right, he understands some of the nuances of this matchup, obviously being a Terran player himself, but I mean, actually executing ZVT is a totally different kettle of fish. He's catching some of the Marines out of position here. It's not terrible for him. I don't necessarily think this is going to be easy for him, though, either. This is a nice job, though, picking up one of the medics. He's done an okay job at shaving off some of these Marines, but this is a very haphazard pincer maneuver. A few links trailing in one at a time. Does manage to clear up the viable, so it's not the end of the world here for Bishop. That was a pretty good catch from him. There will be a fantasy-style push coming from behind this, though, in the way of free siege tanks supported by some vessels in the air as well. We'll have to see how successful Bishop is in trying to slow this down. You kind of have to snipe one of the tanks and also dodge the irradiate by splitting the mutas here against that first spell, which is just about to come online.
You know what? Guardian wouldn't be too bad right now. Guardian wouldn't I mean, if he's going to tank push you, yeah, that's actually... there it is. Guardian play.
Yeah,
Bishop kind of predicting him.
If you were to go Hydra Guardian, 10 minutes is actually the time you're morphing your Guardian, so it's not too late to go Guardian still. And defensively, yeah, they can work really well against tank pushes. He needs to split these mutas well against that irradiate. That's not too bad. He had them split into 3 control groups to make it easier. He's morphing the Guardians off to the left here. As long as Rush doesn't identify that and punish it by pushing onto this location, maybe this can pay off. And one of the benefits of going Guardians here is there's not a lot of spells to utilize against those Guardians. There's very little vessels available to Rush here. He is going to be getting all the way down to the natural location, though. Very slow reaction from Bishop to stay on top of this army, so a lot of these drones might fall.
Yeah, this is over. I mean, the Guardians are going to take way too long to get back. He's just going to go for the counter attack. The reason why this is usually too late is because you just got too much time on the production for the starport. And you can see there's already a Wraith out. He's going to have another vessel, but you know what? Maybe he can keep this going. He's actually just got to keep this Mutalisk active. Still has a pretty good group of Mutalisks here. He does not have an Overlord in position to get rid of this Wraith, though. That Wraith, that Cloak Wraith, gonna do a ton of damage, and the main base is basically gone. This is a good idea from Bishop, but it seems like the timings were a bit off, and that's kind of unsurprising when you're talking about a random player.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he understands the game theory of what he needs to do, but making it happen is just, yeah, a different world for him to contend with, unfortunately. Zerg players make it look easy sometimes, and Bishop's finding that out here firsthand. Unfortunately, it was a nice idea, but the execution just wasn't enough. Finally, the Overlords. Look at this migrational herd of Overlords finally making their way into the main base. They do move in herds, Sam.
Can't make anything anymore. The spawning pool is gone. The Spire is dead. The Lings are attacking into the natural, but GG is called. Bishop taps out. Oh, yikes.
Painful.
What a game there. What a game indeed. Bishop pulling out some interesting tech, but definitely a little bit on the slow side, and he put himself pretty far behind with that opener. Dude, this would have been... We would have been 1-1 right now if Rush would have followed through with that CC first, but I mean, that Star Sense completely saved him in this game.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it makes sense that he didn't pull the trigger on that. I was very much expecting bunker expands from him in this series for that cookie cutter value where you're kind of covering all of your bases against all possibilities. And something like a CC first is easily punished. So yeah, it makes sense for him to kind of like think twice against that and just play something that's much more safe and middle road. And it pays off for him. He's now 2-0 up against Bishop, and I was wrong. I was thinking about putting my money on Bishop for this series. I thought his random looked pretty adequate in previous sets, but Rush is showing us that when you're this high level of a Terran, it doesn't matter if you've got a lot of cards up your sleeve. He's got the ace of spades.
Yeah, really good moves out of Rush so far this series, placing the turret next to his massive air transition there in game number 1 on Death Valley, and then getting the scan, figuring out what's going on, and just threading the needle, getting those Marines over to the main base right before the Guardians come out. Rush has every answer so far to this Terran player who switched over to random. Can he pull out something to surprise Rush in this next game, though? We're going to find out. Game number 3. Let's get it going.
7시 유영진 맵은 메트로폴리스고요.
All right, Metropolis, Bishop in the top right, and it's Terran versus Terran again. Shun, definitely not what Bishop was looking for.
테란이 나온 정민기.
Yeah, suboptimal to say the least. But you know what? He could just throw out a CC first himself, try and get a build order advantage, and it might pay off for him. If Rush does go for something like a bunker expand, CC first is just simply better than that. And, you know, with that little bit of economic advantage, maybe he can make something of it. I mean, CC first is becoming a lot more popular in TVT in general lately, so I wouldn't be super surprised to see it from Bishop here.
Yeah, that could give him a nice advantage. What about double racks BBS? I mean, we're not seeing that here, but if you BBS a 1 racks fast expand, you could probably get away. Like, as long as the bunker doesn't finish, if you're able to get on top of the SCV before the bunker is done, you can possibly turn that into a win, but maybe a bit too risky here for Bishop. What do you think?
I think it's usually a bit too risky because it comes down to scouting essentially. If they scout that you're doing any kind of pressure play early, they will maintain marine production beyond 2. If they need to, if it's a BBS, they'll just make a bunker on the high ground, and it's basically checkmate. Then there's not a lot you can do once they figure out what you're trying to accomplish. But look at this from Bishop. He's got an exceedingly quick gas before the barracks hit, so he's going to be doing something exceptionally cheesy in this game.
Yeah, that's for sure. Likely some sort of 2-port Wraith play again.
좀 더 봐야 되겠지만.
Yeah, we'll see what he wants to pull out here, but this is going to be wild. Unfortunately for him, cross-map situation, whatever crazy play he pulls out, it's going to be a little bit delayed because of that long rush distance. Rush here in the bottom left, he's just going to open with the gas himself, so not that bunker expand we're expecting from him every game.
Right, yeah. This is going to be interesting. I'm curious, is he going to make 2 factories, one at the 12 o'clock and one at the wall? And try and like confuse Rush here a little bit? That's definitely possible. Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. Yeah, this makes sense because it's going to really throw Rush off. Although Rush is a very good Terran player, he's going to take one look at this SCV saturation. If he can get in there and identify that this is some weirdness, the problem is, will the Marine block the ramp in time? No, he will get in there with the SCV and see the SCVs on those mineral patches and identify, hang on a minute, you're looking a little light on your patches, buddy. You should have more SCVs than that. Which means there's minerals elsewhere on the map. So with Rush and his Terran knowledge, he should be able to piece this together and start to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, you saw Bishop there immediately pull his SCVs off the gas as the SCV was coming in, but wasn't able to hide the fact he was mining those gases with more than one SCV because had a Vespian canister in the hands of one of those SCVs. So
가스 다시
There's a lot of
채취하고요.
clues
아,
here.
근데 봤어요.
Let's see if Rush can figure it out. He sees it.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, he sees
아니
it.
이거 어떻게 봤을까?
Yeah. There's one thing about assuming in StarCraft. There's another thing about confirming. Rush suspected this play and has now confirmed it as well, which means he's going to be able to min-max to his heart's content. Looks like though Bishop has
What?
got a multi-pronged cheese plan though. He's going to make it look like a two-factorial in play and then switch into two-port Wraith. This might really obfuscate and confuse Rush and send him through a loop here. He's prepared for a mass amount of vultures potentially hitting the front in a moment. He's got a barracks blocking with a bunker and vultures waiting behind the line of that bunker to kill the softened up vultures if they attempt to run by, as well as blocking his own ramp. Looks like he's going to dive in now and try and kill this SCV building. The CC does do good, beautiful body blocking on those vultures, denying them getting into main base. Kills both of them. That was not really worth it for Bishop to sacrifice those two vultures to kill that one SCV. It does make it so that Rush could push out onto the map with his own vultures, but knowing that, oh my god, no way. Are you kidding me?
Oh wow.
No way. Rush is like a human hacker, dude. Like, he's not hacking, but he's like, his brain is seeing the matrix and is decoding it and is scouting everything Bishop is doing. It's blowing my mind how good this guy's star sense and ability to read the game is. Like, that's nuts. That's like really high level stuff from Rush.
How did that SCV get into the main?
I don't even know.
I mean, that guy was on a mission. That was the SCV originally, right? It was on very low HP. It somehow managed to slip in and reveal the entirety of the build. I mean, I am blown away that made it all the way into the main and spotted as much as it did. This is, this is some Sixth Sense stuff. Rush sees dead people, man, and the only dead person he's seeing right now is Bishop.
Oh, he's definitely dead in this series. I don't know how Bishop is going to claw his way back to 4 victories in a row against this stellar beast of a man, Rush, who's really proving me wrong in this series. I love to be wrong saying in StarCraft because it means some craziness is about to occur, and Rush is making it look easy right now. He's had to prepare against 3 matchups essentially on every single map you're seeing here. There will be some times where he's playing a little bit emotionally and, you know, making a strategy based on the previous games within the set. But for the majority of these games, he's had a game plan against all 3 eventualities. And that's not easy to do in StarCraft, to prepare that much. And usually you don't have to do that. It's very rare you come up against a random player. And it just goes to show that experience tends to win out all the time. And Rush has got plenty of it to work with.
All right, guys, time for match point now. Rush 3-0 so far against Bishop going into game number 4. Let's get it.
이에 맞서는 7시 유영지 선수입니다.
Oh my gosh. Terran again.
맵은 이클립스.
Oh,
이클립스이기
man.
때문에 지금
Rush
뭔가
is probably going to have a smile on his face after this game. No joke. Like, it's the complete opposite of when Flash was random. Like, he doesn't want to get Terran against Rush. Rush is so good in TVT.
Look at where the SCV is from Bishop as well. He's finally going to cave and throw down some racks on the other side of the map. Try to get some pressure going. He is hurting right now in this series. He needs a win so that he can potentially get some other race and start to use some of the game plan that he's come up with.
Yeah, this is just representative of what we're saying. He doesn't feel comfortable playing a straight-up game TVT against Rush. And it's a 2-player map, so it won't be too long before Rush could figure out that it is a mirror matchup. So he's gone for a 7 racks here. It's even faster than 8 racks. He's really trying to put the pressure on. But if Rush makes 2 Marines instead of being greedy, sometimes you'll make 1 Marine and float the barracks right away. But he doesn't know that it's TVT, so it's even more likely that he maintains Marine production, at least for those first 2. And yeah, this will be very difficult for Bishop to actually execute a win here. And we'll have to wait and see if this scouting SCV has sixth sense as well, or will he just go all the way across the lane to the scouting position that he should be doing? And that is what he's doing. He's not checking for any potential proxies like gateways in his natural or barracks over here. So he won't scout this just yet, but he's scouting early enough that he will be able to figure out what's going on. Because when the SCV gets into the main base and sees how many SCVs there are and sees that there's no barracks in the main, he's going to know what's coming. And he's also going to see this gas that's being made behind this for the continuation. So he knows the contingency plan as well.
I don't think he saw the gas there, but I think he's going to loop around. Now he sees the gas. He knows now. Is there going to be a bunker or something? I don't know what Bishop's plan is here. He's got one Marine. He's going to have to back away. SCVs could easily beat this. He needs a few kills. What's the best case scenario here for Bishop with these Marines? Is he looking for like 3-4 SCV kills?
I mean, yeah, he needs a lot, to be honest. And I mean, Russia's tempting him with that possibility. Like, he's coming down the ramp. He's actually going to try and bait Bishop right now. He's got these SCVs, a Marine, hiding at the gas in the natural. He wants Bishop to start pushing towards the ramp and then wrap around from behind. Seems like Bishop, though, he's biding time instead, waiting to start producing a factory out on the map to the right as well. Here comes the SCVs connecting. Good target firing from Bishop. Kills those first two Marines, it looks like. Now if he keeps away from these SCVs, that'll be great. So far it was a great attempt there from Rush to try and get some surrounds on those Marines. Finally another Marine pops out for a rush to try and keep these forces at bay. Those SCVs acting like linebackers, doing a good job of having enough staying power to protect himself while everything's producing back at home. But it was a big commitment there from Rush to pull this many workers off the line and be this proactive in his defense. He wants to get on top of the barracks of Bishop as well as stop this proxy factory in its tracks. But after the second thing, he does manage to wrap around those SCVs, gets on top of the Marines of Rush, does target them down yet again. Pretty good surrounds from the SCVs though, catching some of those Marines with their fusion cutters. Finally also now scouts the additional buildings being produced just outside his natural, so Rush knows all about it. He's trying to connect with these Marines and bump bellies with them.
Doing a great job here of microing around these Marines. He's killed so many Marines with just this one barracks, and SCVs have been pulled off the line. He is going to get this Vulture out here. Most of these SCVs are probably going to die as well. A lot of them are on low HP. You can just micro these down. Oh my gosh, Bishop is getting a lot of damage right now. This is a potential win for him. Can he start to bring this series back?
Yeah, no, I think he can. I think this was a mistake from Rush to come down the ramp and do a proactive defense here. He should have just held his ramp, I feel, and now he's paying the price. This one SCV will struggle to hold the ramp. There's a Vulture coming out. He has to repair this Vulture. He knows that this Vulture will go down quickly, but with the other three SCVs, he has to repair this. This is a mistake from Rush. He miscontrols. He now might be able to kill that, but not quite finding the connection on that. So he actually does manage to get the repair off in time. Bishop does kill one more SCV to slow down the building of that armory. A Goliath would be a great option now. Usually you don't want to make Goliaths in TVT, but when you know there's a 1-1-1 play behind this, the Goliath is great against Vultures and Wraiths in the air, obviously. He's trying to put on pressure now with these Vultures. He does see that the Wraith has already popped out. This is going to be a really tight defense from Rush. He's already lost a lot of SCVs, but I mean, catching these Marines out on the map and now pressuring for a counterattack is a great play from him, because Bishop hasn't got anything to defend back at home.
Yeah, he's got nothing back there. Tank is going to come into the main base. That tank can beat the Goliath. Goliath is going to be trying to focus down the Wraith here. Okay, it's actually not a Goliath. He pops out a Vulture first. So the Vulture really can't do anything. Of course, these two Vultures in his main base are going to light up the SCVs. Bishop, does he have a plan for that? It seems like he's just going all in. He might pull the SCVs come across the map.
I don't know if he's going to stop this Wraith tank play. I mean, he has got a good amount of task switching ability to control these Vultures manually in the main base, but looks like Bishop is just gonna maybe lift off the CC and get his SCVs over to this side of the map and just go for a massive all-in play here and try and checkmate Rush. Tank puts a few shots onto that Goliath as well. This factory is not long for this world. What you see is what you get, besides maybe an additional Marine popping out for Rush. He needs to go now and try and get a good surround on those tanks tanks with this. He does drill down the ramp with 2 SCVs. Can't quite body block those tanks. Now there's 3 tanks here. I think Bishop has started to do it, but it's going to be a bit of a weird situation. He's not technically mining right now, but he still might have enough forces to get up onto this high ground and bully Rush into a checkmate scenario. These 3 Wraiths are basically going to be checkmating him if he can't kill all of these tanks and then oh my gosh.
Block, he can't get the tanks back down the ramp. Tanks are going to get stuck here on the left-hand side. They're both focused down. Too many Goliaths out here. I think the Bishop waited a bit too long to go all in with this. He should have pulled the SCVs as soon as the Vultures started coming across the map and just go for the kill. But Rush just managed to slip out enough units here to get the win and the GG. There it is, guys. Another win on the board for Rush, and he takes away the series. Not the series we were hoping for here. Of course, Bishop going to be a little bit disappointed about that as well. Getting Terran this many times in a row, pretty unfortunate for him. Or maybe not in a row, but over and over again in this series.
I would say so, yeah. I mean, that's painful. The game very much slipped through Bishop's fingers there. It was a nice idea, and a Rush for a second looked like he had thrown the game almost by those SCVs being eliminated by the Vultures at the start. And yeah, the proxy play was looking very strong for Bishop, and it didn't look like the counterplay from Rush was going to be good enough to go the distance there. But I don't know, like he's showing such composure under pressure, and maybe he sees something I know he sees something we don't, and he's able to somehow calibrate those situations into favorable trades, which is absolutely bonkers, because most Terran players would crumble under the stress of having to coordinate that kind of defense, especially while switching your Vultures to harass the SCVs inside the main base or Bishop. That was a crazy game, and yeah, if Bishop had pulled the trigger on the all-in a little bit quicker there, I think he would have just barely had enough threshold of units to go the distance and cripple Rush. But as it stands, it looks like Rush is just too much of a monster to handle for Bishop, not only in that game, but in the entire series. That's one of the most cleanest victories we've seen in SCSL thus far.
Very impressive series there from Rush. He's managed to secure his spot in the semifinals. Coming up in a little bit here in the next match, we've got Snow versus Action, the first of the semifinals. Then we're going to have Best versus Rush. That should be an awesome, awesome match. They were on opposite sides of the bracket in the ASL, and so weren't able to meet up with each other, but they were right around... I think the same level this season. I'm very excited to see what they can do against each other. Also, of course, Snow versus Action. I'm expecting a Snow victory there, but Action has been putting out some great games as well.
Yeah, no, I expect Snow should get the better end of that series against Action, though Action has been playing a little bit out of his mind as well. So I'm not so sure about that set, but I do think that Best is going to get the better of Rush, though that will be a very spectacular series to watch. No matter who wins these two sets, I imagine it's going to be really good. Like, I just can't see either one of those being a 4-0 or 4-1 necessarily. And yeah, like you say, Best hasn't had really a chance to play against Rush in quite a while, I think. So I'm really curious about where these two line up. Best is the best, pun intended, PvT player in the business. His fundamentals are just so solid. Definitely the kind of player you want to try and emulate and learn how to play. Whereas someone like Snow, you know, he's a lot more, you know, execution and gimmick orientated with his Reaver and shuttle control and what have you. Very much harder to copy something like that. So if you want to learn how to play Protoss, you better off watching someone like Best. But still, Snow versus Action could be a crazy series, and Snow's been showing more and more tendencies to utilize shuttles and Reavers in that versus matchup. So I'm kind of hoping we see some really bonkers games where like Reaver Ser and what have you is utilized quite a few times.
Yeah, that should be a very fun series, and there's a possibility we see a PvP grand final here. How funny is that? The one tournament where Soul Key isn't involved, and it's straight to PvP finals. It's almost, it reminds me of like when Flash was playing back in the day, and everyone thinking Terran was OP, but it was literally just Flash winning everything.
Right.
Same sort of thing here, I think, with the Soul Key, just making Zerg look OP, but then as soon as he's out of the picture, there it is.
Well,
Protoss is managing to get wins.
I think even if we do get that Protoss versus Protoss grand finals, it means we would then be guaranteed a Rush versus Action third place decider match, which would be really exciting to see as well. Rush is far more competent in his versus Zerg than he is against Protoss. So even if he struggles against Best and doesn't quite go the distance, he could still redeem himself in that third place match. And who knows, maybe it won't be that PvP. Maybe Action or Rush will surprise us in these semifinals coming up.
Well, I'm sad to see the unorthodox play from Bishop going that random and choosing the most unorthodox maps in the pool to start out on. Doesn't work out for him. Not even one bit here in the round of 8. Not able to get a single win. That's a bit disappointing, guys, but I'm sure that there will be sometime in the future more random runs from these pro players. It's just so exciting, and all the fans want to see it happen. I bet he's getting a ton of donations and stream views just for, attempting this. People are going to want to go over to his channel and check it out and see how that run goes. So I'm sure that sort of popularity is definitely appealing to these guys who mostly earn money from streaming, so I'm expecting more random runs in the future. Anyways, guys, make sure to follow Xun SC on YouTube. Follow myself as well, saying KCM on YouTube. We've got plenty of other content for you guys to check out, live streams, KCM, and plenty of other like ladder casts from myself. So definitely go ahead and check that out. We're at the end of this stream, guys, but make sure to tune in again. And I guess it'll be next week or this week. And 2 casts per week are coming out on the StarCastTV channel, SCSL Season 4. It's coming down to the wire, guys, so stay tuned in. We'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, guys.